Trust is the unknown, and hope will lead us home.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you are all well. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight. It is, what day is it today? It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday the 29th, and it's just after 8. So thank you all so much for joining me. Um, first things first. First things first. Have we all got a drink? If you can see me, if you can hear me, like always, guys, just let me know in the comments below. I can already see we've got some loads of people here already. So Mark Wilshire is here. Hey, Mark, how you doing? Thanks for being here. Evening all. Tommy Woodward is here. Dean, you almost forgot the booze. What did you get? What did you get? We've got Graham Bewley. Graham Bewley's one of my guests this evening, so it's good that he's here. We're gonna say hello to him and a couple of others in a moment. We've got Andy Holmes is here, and we've got Dominic. Got my Baileys. Well done. Michael is that's a great YouTube handle. Michael is amazing. So, if you can hear me, if you can see me, then just let me know. If you haven't got a drink yet, grab yourself a drink. So tonight we are talking about highlights of 2020. Now I know it's been a really, really rubbish year, but despite that, I've not only had really, really great work achievements, but also some personal achievements. So one of my biggest achievements this year for me has been getting this house. I'm now a homeowner, which is an amazing feeling. And obviously we just had Christmas, so let me know how your Christmas was. Look, this is one of my Christmas presents. I'm wearing them now. So I got slippers. I got slippers for Christmas, and I also got an iron from my mum, and I was genuinely excited by it. So you know you're getting old when you're excited about getting some slippers and an iron. What else did I get? I also got some recipe books, some of the dirty, no, not dirty bikers, the hairy bikers. I always call them the dirty bikers. I got a couple of hairy bikers recipe books. What else? It's so ironic. My sister Cassie, so for Christmas, she got it's a special one of these drills that you kind of turn and it kind of gives you a straight drill down. It's for her wood burning, for pyrography. I just think it's so ironic that Cassie got a drill and I got recipe books and iron and slippers. I mean, that just says it all, does it? Okay, so let's hairy bikers. Yeah, Andy. Yeah, I know. So we got we got Hazy's from Portland. Nice, man. Barry's finally here. Barry, you're finally here for one of the lives. You're here on time. Thanks for being here. Not too bad. Loads of time spent with the kids. Cool, man. Cool. So as I said, tonight we're going to be talking about highlights, but as well as my personal achievements, I've also had some great work achievements, and you're only as good as the team around you. And as you've probably read in the description, tonight's episode we're going to be joined by some of the other people who do help me behind the scenes. So we spoke to Michael Mowbray, who you may already be aware of, videographer. He is back again tonight, but also we have a couple of extra guests along with us as well. We've got Graham, Dan and Stephen, who are going to be joining us. So they have all assisted me. They've helped with behind the scenes stills. Some of them are professional photographers as well in their own right, in their own genre. So tonight we're going to be hearing from them. We're going to be hearing their favorite stories, hearing about them and about their experience working with me as an assistant. And if there are any questions, we are here to answer you as well. So I digress. So let's jump straight into it. So let's bring them all on. All right, let's see if we can. First of all, Mr. Michael Mowbray's back. How are you, man?
Very good, mate. Very good. How are you?
All good, matey. All good. We have Graham Bewley. Hey, Graham.
Hi, guys. How are we doing? We got drinks at the ready?
Of course. And of course, we have Dan as well. Hey, Dan, you all good?
Yeah, all good, mate. You all right?
Really good. We've got Stephen joining us. He is on Dad Patrol. He did say he might be a little bit late. Stephen is another one of my friends who assists me on a lot of the shoots that you might already be aware of. So we're going to be speaking with him a bit later on. But first of all, lads, I missed it. Have we all got a drink?
One.
Graham's doubling up.
Hang on. Mike, sorry, Mike, hold that drink up again. Is that bait? Look, look at the
It
size
was
of
full. It was full to the top, but this took. We were a few minutes behind, so I've drunk some.
that. And Dan, what are we drinking tonight, Dan?
I've got some lager in one hand, and on Graham's instruction, I've got some whiskey in the other.
Yes. Fit in.
And then Graham, what have you got?
We've got a pint of Cuban, which
Nice.
is Coke and Morgan Spice. And then, got the Jack Daniels honey as a little chaser.
Oh, nice.
That's when we get to the end of the night.
Yeah.
We've got to finish this by the end of the night.
Towards the end.
Yeah, when it gets a bit silly.
So, guys, let's just start off by going around. So just let's give everyone context. Well, Graham, let's start with you. So, Graham, tell everyone what you do, what's your thing, and how you have you been. What kind of work have you been doing with me? So start kind of about you and your own work and what you've done with me.
Well, what I've been doing recently is a lot of drinking because I've had a week off. I don't drink very often.
Aren't we, guys?
Huh?
We're all tier 4, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of staying at home, a lot of closing the studio, not doing any work. But yeah, I'm a full-time newborn baby and family photographer, and I kind of assisted you on a shoot, and then I've also been a photographer for you on your training courses as well. So I've seen it's been good to catch up. Obviously, we know each other from Jessop's back in the day, which seems like a miles away now.
So if I may jump in, Graham, so you mentioned Jessop. So I know that some people watching will know that I used to work at Jessop's, and so did Graham, and that is how we met. And Graham, you were actually a team leader before I became a team leader. So at one point, you were my boss.
In a way, yeah, because I was brought over to Blue Water for 3 months to basically train you lot up.
And I always remember one particular story. We had I don't know if you remember this, we had a really nasty customer who was, I don't know, I can't remember exactly what he wanted, but I was so overwhelmed because he was shouting at me. I think he wanted a refund or he wanted I'm not entirely sure. But I was so overwhelmed, and I think you were on your break, and I said, Graham, I know you're on your break, but can you please help me on the shop floor? This guy I just can't handle it. I'm too new. I don't know how to handle it.
And if you know me, don't interrupt me whilst I'm eating. You know? So it's double risky for you, especially on a break. No, it was a guy who wanted a refund on a product. But it was first thing in the morning, so we didn't have the cash in the till, and he didn't want it on a card. So I managed to work a workaround because Jessop systems back then were basically from the 90s. They were like old. So I managed to refund it onto a gift card, and yeah, it was a long process. Even the manager and a few other people thought, hang on, what you're doing is kind of a bit like if people knew about this, you could easily work around a few things, but we managed to sort it out for him. But yeah, he was a bit of a what's it, let's say. But that's part of the training now, though, isn't it? We're dealing with customers all the time, so we need that experience to take us to the next level.
And carry on, Graham, as you were. So before I really interrupted,
I can't remember what it was now. Yeah, so we met at Jessop. So obviously, I've worked and helped you assisting, and also been a photographer for you for the training as well, which has been fantastic. It's been a great experience. And next year, I'll probably get into it a little bit later on, but next year I'm moving on to doing different things and helping other people and other photographers starting their business as well, by providing a behind the scenes look at what I do day to day. So, but we can go over that a little bit later if you want.
Yeah, that sounds good, man. That sounds good. Well, thank you so much, Graham.
From your inspiration as well, I must say, from your personal projects and stuff like that. So, there you go.
Thanks, matey. Well, we definitely will touch more onto that a bit later on. So, but thanks again for being here, Graham.
No problem, mate. It's a good laugh.
Dan, can you tell us a little bit about you and what you do, and also your involvement when you do work on projects with me?
Yeah, so it's a convoluted job title, but I'm essentially a in-house creative for a company. So I do photography and video work primarily, but that's mixed in with a little bit of animation and graphic design and web design work. So that's my 9 to 5, and I'm very lucky to have that, where I'm able to be behind a camera for a lot of my working week, but without the pressure that comes with the freelance life that I know you three guys deal with. And then I do a little bit of freelance side stuff, photography and video on the side, and then helping you as and when I can.
And what projects, to remind people, have you helped me with, to give people context?
Sorry, buddy, my internet cut out. What did you say?
Sorry, matey. So, just to remind the audience, which projects in particular you've personally assisted with?
Oh, there's quite a few now. So I can't remember the order even, but there was Beth. For those, I don't think there was a video for that one, but that's the one where we had Beth, who was our model, and we went outside with the armchair. So that's quite a strong picture. I'm sure you're following will know that one. Then there was the one at Rochester Loft Studios, which Mike was at as well, where we were testing out the optical snoot.
That was the was that the City 300 review video?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, City 300 review video. Yeah, with Laura the model. Yeah,
Laura the model, and then there was another one at Lux Studios in Maidstone. That was with Tom, and that one again was with the optical snoot. The first portrait of I helped out on with Holly, which Graham was at and Mike was at. So that was I think the first one where all four of us worked together.
Yeah.
Probably the first one, that I met you, Dan, actually.
And then of course the live stream is the one where we were all together. I think that's been the only project where the live stream where we've all been together when we did 5 ways to use one softbox. I think
that's right. Yeah. We were all scheduled to do the second one, but my wife got the positive COVID test. Thankfully, she didn't have any symptoms and she's absolutely fine. But it meant that I wasn't able to come because I was isolating when that second one happened.
That was so unfortunate that we couldn't have you there, man. So unfortunate. We couldn't have Graham as well. We couldn't have you there for other commitments.
No.
But you're here tonight. You're here with us to chat with us about assisting and all that stuff. So yeah, a reminder for those watching, if you do have any questions about any of the projects, this is a roundup. We're talking about, we don't have to talk about the highlights of just the projects this year, but if there have been any projects that you've seen on my YouTube or my works that you do want to ask us about, because no doubt whichever one you pick, one of these boys have been involved, and we can walk you through and share some stories about that. So Dan, thanks ever so much for being here. And we've also got Mr. Michael Mowbray. So Mike, do you want to give us a brief intro? I know we have an episode of you, but do you want to give us a brief intro for those of you who are joining us for the first time?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I'm Michael Mowbray. I'm a camera operator that mainly works in TV and corporate, and I'll do lots of videos with you, Tommy.
You're the man. You're the go-to behind the scenes man. So Mike is responsible for all of your behind the scenes videos, and we've how long have we been working together now?
Well, we did work it out last time, but I think it must be sort of like in the 7-8 years.
It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for being here, Mike. We've also I can see Stephen's waiting in the waiting room. So at long last, Stephen is here. So we'll just bring Stephen on. Bring him in.
Hey,
oh.
Hey,
Hey, Stephen.
Hi guys, how you doing? I'm good, thanks. You good?
Yeah, not too bad. So I don't know if you heard, we were just going around and asking everyone to introduce themselves and then tell them about what you do, and then also what your involvement is when you do and when you work with me.
Okay, cool. Right, so my name's Steve. I am the guy who gets things done as quickly as possible for Tommy on set. I think the main reason why Tommy brings me along is because I put up and pull down his set very, very quickly. The benefits for this are going to be that he gets 1 or 2 extra looks when he does the shoot. I think that's probably the only reason you have me, isn't it?
Yeah. To give other people context, there was an occasion I remember where I think I was talking with the studio owner, and no, I think it was actually when we were preparing for one of my workshops in Kent, and I was chatting to the owner, and then I think I turned around and 2 gravity backdrops were up like that. So I'm like, wow, that was quick.
Well, time's money, isn't it?
That is true.
Yeah.
I suppose that's the good point about having assistants is you can concentrate on checking out where you want to go, the lighting you want to use, and you just go, assistant, do it now. And it's done.
And he does it just like that. As
Exactly.
well.
Yeah, exactly in that manner. That's exactly what he does.
He does roll with a whip.
With that
He,
click.
he loves a good click.
Well, guys, thank you all so much for being here. I'm just
We're missing one big person though. Where's Cassie
Yeah, where is
Reynolds?
he?
Yeah.
so Cassie, she just said, "Oh, I really don't know what I can bring to the table," and I spoke to her today. I'm like, Cass, do you want to come? And she's like, "Oh, I don't know." Like,
She's the lady of the table.
she's the lady of the
She's the one that controls the table.
Do you know what? Shall I give her a call now? She might even be
Yes.
watching.
Definitely.
Shall I give her a call? And because people will want to know, because so for those of you that don't know, my sister Cassie, she assists Michael Mowbray quite a lot. So it's actually let's just call her. Let's just see if she answers.
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah, no
Improv.
problem with that. She's not
we
expecting.
like a bit of improv.
Yeah, so Cassie not only assists Mike, but she's also the vision mixer every time we do a live demo at Lux Studios. So she'll be the person that does the live editing, if you like, and all the cutting. So she's a videographer and an editor herself, but and she has even filmed a couple of my videos when Mike has not been around. But her main kind of thing is assisting Mike and also doing the vision mixing. But we want to hear from her, so let's
go.
I bet she's turned her phone off now.
Yeah. Straight on aeroplane mode.
Yeah. Let's just see if she answers. We're gonna give my sister a call, see if she answers live.
This is where you need a road podcaster, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's hope it's an appropriate answer as well. She's not like
Yeah.
swearing at you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Not
Yeah,
like our normal intro.
Yeah.
Not like our normal intro to each other.
She's not gonna answer.
She's not.
Come on, Cassie.
You know, she's watching.
Hello, Cassie. This is your brother Tommy. We're
You're
trying
live on the BBC.
You're live. You're live across the nation. Please do not swear. Give me a call back. I just need to ask you something real quick. Okay, cheers. Bye.
Trapped her. You've trapped
I
her.
know.
now.
Yeah.
Actually, do you know what? While we're talking about Cassie's role in assisting, Mike, from your point of view as a videographer, I know we'll jump straight in, but how important is Cassie's role? As I know we're talking about assisting as a photographer, but as an assistant, how has Cassie helped you in assisting you in achieving my goal of delivering a video, if that makes sense?
I mean, I think she's essential. So there was a long period where it was just I was just doing it by myself, and because of the amount of setups we like doing, it can be. Sorry, I've just seen Andy. She's definitely ghosting you.
She probably is.
She is. Yeah, no, honestly, the times when we weren't using Cassie, it used to be so much more difficult because we have so many different setups that, like, I know we said before that we like it to be sort of like natural and off the cuff, but there are things we know we like to get. Like, so for example, Steadicam shots, sliders, onto the shoulder rigs, and we do a lot of lens changes as well. So just having Cassie there to be able to call on her whilst I'm filming and we know what the next setup is, she gets it prepped and ready, and it's made my life so much easier. And I know for definite that had she not been there for some of the shoots, that we wouldn't have necessarily gone to the slider because of the couple of minutes it takes to set up, and I know that I would have been missing other shots. Yeah, so it's invaluable, really. She's great to have on set.
Yeah. Well, and that's the same principle when Dan, Stephen, and Graham, when you assist me in the times that you have assisted me, because I think almost like assistants or runners might, like, people might think of as like it's not a great job, or it's not a very exciting job, when actually it's a really, really important job, being a runner or an assistant. I mean, I get people asking me all the time if they can assist me, and it's not an easy thing to say yes to, because
Yeah, it's lots
obviously
to
I'm
take.
gonna. Sorry, Dan.
There's lots to take. We've used up.
Yeah. There's a waiting list.
Yeah, no, but no, it's just the little things. Like it's so comforting to know that you guys, for example, you know all of my gear, and because obviously you're photographers yourselves, you know what I want, and because, and it's just through repetition, because you've worked with me, you know how I like things set up, or where I like like my go-tos, if you like. You know, it's just simple, like just say, can I have a 50mm on standby, and it's just there ready to go. I sound really demanding, don't I?
Yeah. We don't take anything
You
to
are.
heart when you're
Yeah.
on set. When you're on set and time's crucial, you just got to be quick. It's not because you're being rude or being anything else. Like, I've been on TV sets and it's far ruder. It's like, right, can you give me that now? It's literally like,
Oh yeah.
it's not because people are being rude or insensitive, or you just don't have time sometimes.
Because I even remember when, like, I was I think it was this was years ago on a video shoot, and your friend, one of your friends, Mike, who came and assisted me, and even down to, like, because he was actually
I know the story you're about to say.
we were doing a music video, and he actually, because he's a runner himself and he does running all the time, like, he even came up to me and just handed me like water. He just said, "Here you go, drink that." Because I don't know, and I don't know if you boys are the same. When it's your shoot, the last thing you're thinking about is your belly, or the last thing you're thinking about is, am I thirsty or not?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just
Yeah.
little things like that. Like, as an assistant, and it really does go a long way when, and it just makes the shoot go quicker, as you said, Stephen. You know, it's the difference sometimes between getting 5 setups versus 4 setups, or maybe even 2 more setups, where you're just that quick and you know the gear well. So it really does make a difference. I mean, Stephen,
Plus-
have you got any particular memories from a particular shoot, or is there any kind of advice you would give as an assistant that you've kind of picked up?
So really, like, just being an assistant, you have to be really, really in tune to what you want. So I've known you long enough now, Tommy, that I think you've said on several occasions, we've been talking about a location, I went, if you did this, and this, is like, you know exactly what I would do. It's like, the more time you spend with someone, the more you learn. So if you can just preempt everything they want and get it done as quickly as possible and efficiently as possible, it's just going to make the whole thing go a hell of a lot smoother. So the main real advice that I can give to anyone is, if you really want to learn a lot of stuff and get good exposure in the industry, reach out to photographers, ask them if you can help, you're willing to learn, and then just go with as much enthusiasm as possible. Just be polite, courteous, and just, like, learn everything that photographer wants. I know which lenses Tommy wants. I know how to use his gear. I know that he'll always run late, so you have to try and gear him up a little bit.
You have been called out, mate. Called out.
I really have. This is a mistake. So,
Yeah. Oh,
All your
Brilliant.
secrets are coming out.
Yeah. Well, at 8 o'clock tonight, you were going downstairs to get your Baileys. You weren't even ready at 8 o'clock. You didn't have any Baileys yet.
I know. We did it. We did a little tech rehearsal, and I said, "Has everyone got a drink?" And and when Mike held his up, it was just like full to the brim, and I was like, "Right, I need to go downstairs and grab mine then."
no. I'm trying to preserve it because I know we're not even really started yet.
Dan's already finished his drink.
Yeah, I'll have to go and get another one in the break.
You got a bottle behind you.
Oh, excuse me. Andy Holmes, it's more of a case that we know things so well that we can anticipate what you're going to need and have it ready and waiting, or already get shots before you ask for them. So Andy watching. So Andy unfortunately couldn't join us because of tech problems, but Andy's also part of the team as well. So Andy has been responsible for some for web design. He's also taken some behind the scenes photos. So a lot of the behind the scenes photos that you might have seen, even in this issue, it sounds like an ad, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's just because I just had it there. Where's the shot? Like Andy got it spot on when he shot this behind the scenes photo. So look, that's like the main photo, and Andy, I can't even see. He shot. Hang on, like that is the moment.
Oh, that's a great shot.
I shot it.
Mm.
So a lot of behind the scenes images that you've seen have either been taken by Andy or Dan. So Dan sometimes takes some behind the scenes shots as well that I've been using. So the optical snoop video. So you took some shots for that as well. So kind of the same sort of question to you, kind of the same question to you, Dan. You know, what's been your experience, or what have you learned through assisting me, and maybe what advice would you give, or that you've learned over the years?
So I think the key bit of advice that I would give everyone assisting any photographer is that despite if you have a conversation with that photographer ahead of time of what they're looking to achieve, what they're expecting, be ready for that to go totally out the window and you're going to be doing something completely different. This has happened on a shoot with Tommy. We had a whole plan, and for whatever reason, Tommy wasn't getting the images he wanted, came up with another idea on the fly, and the resulting images were amazing. But the reason that this one sticks in my mind is that the whole thing was meant to take place inside a country house, and it was in the summertime, and we ended up shooting a lot of it outside, and the weather wasn't great, and I had cloth shoes on, and so my feet were soaked through to the bone. And at the end of the shoot, I had cold feet, and my first journey was to Primark to buy a new pair of boots and a new pair of socks.
Oh man!
Tommy did reimburse me for, I will say. So, but yeah, expect the unexpected with any shoot. And there's a question in the comment, Tommy, about do any of us shoot on our own or with helpers? And I've done both, and I know that Tommy, you've done. I'm sure at one point or another we've all done both, where we've either worked on our own or worked with assistants. And what I'd say to that is that although if you're competent at your craft, you can do it on your own. But if you have someone else that knows what they're talking about, even if it's can you get me a 50mm lens, and they know which lens is the 50mm lens, it makes a hell of a difference, because you are able to dedicate that much more time to the model, or you'll get a couple more setups into a shoot, and it really does make a difference. So if you are just starting out in photography, don't feel like you can't reach out to another photographer or a videographer, because we all did it at one point or another. Otherwise, we wouldn't have worked with Tom in the first place.
Great answer.
I think that's a really, really good point, Dan.
Yeah.
That's really cool, man. And Graham, same question to you, my friend.
Yeah, well, actually, I don't know if you know this, Tommy, but when I first came out of university, the first thing I did was message a load of photographers, a load of studios, because both me and you, our background is actually in video, not photography.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was messaging Maidstone Studios, messaging BBC, messaging production houses in London. And the first job I got in the field of photography was actually assisting a photographer that I happened to be a friend of a friend. And he worked for the BBC food magazine Olive. So we were going out to like the beach to do barbecue photographs of food, stuff in the studio, stuff at different restaurants and stuff like that. So that was a massively great experience. And the one thing I would say about assisting is don't fixate on necessarily one person, because different photographers are going to work slightly differently. Different genres are going to work differently. And also, if you've not decided what genre of photography that really suits you, go and try everything out by assisting, because that's kind of how I fell into family and newborn and stuff like that, is because I ended up assisting a photographer on a wedding. He then invited me to do another job. I ended up being a studio photographer for his company regularly, and that was all family stuff. And then that's why I've gone into the family side of things, because I've been able to work as an assistant testing out different areas. And that's also why, in some ways, obviously the recession in 2008 didn't help, why I went over to photography rather than video, is because I found actually assisting the photographers was much more interesting than being a runner and seeing what they were doing up in London in the post-production houses in London and working in Maidstone Studios and for the BBC. So there's a lot of advantages from assisting, because you can kind of get a flavour of what the industry's actually quite like.
Great answer, Graham.
Mm.
And for those watching, just to remind, so Graham, Graham is a professional newborn photographer. Let me see if I can pull his website up for those.
Here we go.
So here it is. Here it is.
I like a bit of the closed at the moment. But yeah, the whole reason, just to recap, the whole reason I got into the newborn family stuff is because I generally really enjoy it. I love meeting people, especially when they're just about to have a family for the first time, and now obviously having a family myself. There's a lot of rapport there. And the only reason I kind of fell into that and explored that avenue was assisting another photographer who happened to own a studio just on the outskirts of London. And by the way, to get to that job, it's in St Albans, was a 2.5 hour drive there and a 2.5 hour drive back, because I live in Ashford in Kent. But the experience for doing that for a year and a half was fantastic. It was worth the time and the effort. So there
when
you go.
made but when you made the transition to, okay, so you've done all the assisting, you felt that you had everything. When did you know when you were ready to become professional? Was there a moment? Did you just gradually gradually fall into it? How did you make that step?
It was obviously a gradual process, because I was also doing my own work, dabbling in a few weddings, as most of us do when we first start out, because you're bound to get a family member that goes, "Oh, you want to get in photography? You might as well do weddings."
Yeah.
Okay, but it's not the only way to actually make money out of photography.
And they'll
Actually,
always
it's
say, "Would you do it for free as well?" And you're like,
Oh,
"No."
yeah.
Yeah.
And you know who your true friends are when they say to you that I want you to pay me. I want to pay you for this. I don't want you to do it for free. There's always a few people that want stuff for free when you're a photographer. But I digress. As we normally do in our conversations, Tommy, for about 3 hours. But no, it was a gradual process. And then I was working at the studio for about a year and a half. I was obviously traveling quite a lot. So I was leaving probably about 6:30 in the morning to get to the studio for 8 o'clock, 8:30, because the first photo shoot was at 9. And then it's back-to-back shoots for 8 hours. You tend to try and get a half-hour break in there at some point, and then a 2.5 hour drive home. So for doing that for 3 days a week for a year and a half, it wears on you. But it became, I suppose it got to the point for me where it became very repetitive, where I knew their setup off by heart. I could walk into the studio and know, because you only get an hour with people, what I would do for that hour. Oh, you got this age kids, then we'll do this for an hour. It became very methodical, a bit more like a conveyor belt type thing, which is not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me personally, that's kind of where I knew I couldn't learn anything more from this situation. So it wasn't necessarily that I was ready to come do it on my own. It was just that I couldn't learn anything more from the situation. So let's go and that's when I started doing newborn training. So I started doing a lot more newborn training because I wanted to go in that area. And then that's when I started building up the confidence to do it myself. And I've been pretty much full-time now for 5 years, 6 full-time. And it's been the only source of income for me for the last 4, and for the last 3, only source of income for the whole of my household, which I feel incredibly proud of doing.
It's a good season.
Which obviously has had a knock-on effect this year, but all your eggs in one basket, as they say. But I kind of felt ready. You kind of feel ready, and when you feel like you're building up that customer base, and it's only been this year that I've actually had a studio. I was very adamant of not having a studio, not being that commercial type portrait photographer, doing family stuff. I was very much wanted to be outdoors as much as possible as well. And you start building up the work, and you go, "Oh, hang on here." And the truth of the matter is, and there's a lot of people that vouch for me when I do this. When I first started photography, and I said, "Right, I'm doing this full time," but I had to make sure I kept the money coming in to pay our rent and stuff like that. I was working from 9:30 in the morning till around about 4 o'clock during the day, just on my photography. My friend owned a pub, and I worked there, so I used to start at 6 and finish at 11. And on a Friday and a Saturday, they closed at midnight. I did that 6 days a week for a year. That's how I built up my photography and made sure that I also had the income coming in. But by doing that for that year and a half or 2 years sacrifice, as well as working at the studio on the outskirts of London as well when I could, you put in the hard work for a good 2-3 years, the benefits later on reap for themselves. So that's I always, if you're going into photography and you're thinking, I want to do this full time, there's no such thing as a romantic story of a starving artist. There isn't at the moment. There's no such, it's a nice thought in films and stuff like that, but you got to pay the bills, you got to pay the rent. So, hustle hard, work hard, and eventually you'll it's a very hard point to make that switch over to say, yeah, I'm doing full time photography. But you kind of get the feeling when it's right as well. But you've got to, at the end of the day, if you're going to do it full time, you've got to have a plan in place, and you've got to be dedicated to do it, basically. So yeah.
Well, Michael said that's crazy dedication. Good on you, Graham. Barry says that's awesome, man. And Alan says nice discussion. So thanks ever so much, guys, for watching. If you do have any questions for Graham about newborn photography or how he got started, then just let us know. Any kind of business related questions as well, please, by all means. Now, Dan, I wanted to ask, I know that you've just recently started the YouTube channel yourself, and which looks really great, by the way. So with
it looks really good.
What would you say has been one of your biggest achievements for and one of your highlights for 2020? Obviously, it's been a bit of a rough year. It's not affected you work-wise, has it, or has it?
Again, my internet's not brilliant, but I think I got the gist of your question. No, my work hasn't been affected too badly, apart from the fact that I'm now working from home, whereas I was working from the office previous to the pandemic hitting. But yeah, it's had a knock-on effect for all industries. So I think everyone's having to adapt. But I think people in a freelance state are obviously feeling it a bit more than perhaps I am. I'm particularly lucky. But so I don't really know what more to say on that.
No, it's good, man. And the other part to my question was, what's been one of your kind of highlights of 2020, be it work or personal?
So I think work-wise, I mean, my day job is my day job. That's by the by. But like you said just before, I have started my own YouTube channel, which is something I've threatened to do for the last few years. So I found I didn't find my own Michael Mowbray. There's no second Michael Mowbray, but my buddy Sam, who's my best mate, we both went to university. He was the year below me, and we did a similar course to you, Tommy. We did a TV broadcasting course, and so I trust him to film anything that I'm working on. And yeah, so I begged, borrowed, and stealed to get him on board with me, and we've done 4 or 5 behind the scenes YouTube videos now. Again, it comes down to do what interests you, I think, because the thing with my day job is that although I am behind a camera, I don't dictate what I'm taking pictures of a lot of the time. So if I am free on a weekend, the thing that I would like to do is set up a photo shoot with a friend and just go out and take some nice portraits. And it gives you that creative fulfillment that I wasn't getting Monday to Friday, but it equally means that I'm building up a portfolio that, if you look at my website now compared to what it was a couple of years ago, the work has come on leaps and bounds because I've dedicated the time to practicing. And I know that you've said in other videos before that if you're only doing one thing, you're never going to develop. But if you're challenging yourself to do many different things, then you will develop, because it doesn't matter if you muck up on a shoot because no one's paying for it. So someone will get a nice set of headshots or a nice series of images for their portfolio, because I predominantly work with acting students. So they're grateful for the opportunity, and I'm grateful that they're giving me their time. So it's a win-win for everyone, really.
100%, Dan. Oh, sorry. I think someone's Mark. Tommy is really quiet. Mark, how's that? I've just tweaked my microphone. Is that better? Can you hear me okay now? Is it quiet on your end, guys?
A little bit, nothing major.
Nothing major. No.
Okay. I'll just talk a bit louder.
There you go.
I like how you get louder and deeper. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a man.
Mate.
Welcome to Top Gear.